What if one phone call could change your life and destroy it at the same time? This is the story of a man haunted by a voice that sounds exactly like his own. Welcome to Cine Explain Hub. Today, I'm explaining the psychological thriller Karthik Calling Karthik, a gripping story rated 7.0 out of 10 on IMDb that will twist your mind until the very end. In the opening scene of the movie, we see two young boys playing in a field. Suddenly, one of them pushes the other into a deep well. Cut to the next scene, Karthik jolts awake from his sleep, sweating and terrified. He just had a disturbing dream, the exact same incident, a boy pushing another into a well. Karthik works at a construction company. He's extremely shy and sensitive, someone who struggles to speak up, avoids confrontation, and finds it hard to express himself. As Karthik gets ready for work, his landlord calls him over and demands an extra deposit. When Karthik hesitates, the landlord coldly threatens to evict him if he doesn't pay up. From there, Karthik heads to his office. A little later, the office peon asks Karthik for his phone, but Karthik refuses, saying he doesn't have one. Some time passes, and a guy named Ashish comes over and tells Karthik to do his work for him. Karthik politely declines, saying he's currently busy. Annoyed, Ashish tells him to go speak with the boss instead. When Karthik approaches the boss, things take a turn. The boss snaps at him, saying he's useless and warns him that if he doesn't meet his targets this month, he'll be fired. Right then, a girl named Shonali walks in, and from Karthik's expression, it's clear he likes her. Karthik also tries to send an email to Sonali, but he just can't do it. Instead, he leaves it saved in drafts. Then he notices that Shonali and Ashish are chatting with each other. This makes him feel really sad. Later that night, everyone in the office starts heading home. Karthik is just about to leave when he gets a call from his boss. The boss tells him he needs to finish all the contracts by the next day. Karthik doesn't say anything. He just quietly agrees and stays back to finish all the work. Only after everything is done does he finally head home. As soon as he lies down on his bed, his phone rings again. It's the boss, giving him even more work. Karthik still can't say no, but this time, out of frustration, he breaks his phone in anger. After that, Karthik reaches the office and continues finishing the rest of the work. Now, Karthik's boss takes him somewhere, but suddenly drops him off midway for no reason. After that, Karthik goes to a mobile store to buy a new phone. The shopkeeper is just about to show him a model when Karthik spots Shonali outside. He keeps looking at her, but to his disappointment, she's with Ashish. He buys a new phone and takes it home, but doesn't bother to connect or use it. Karthik has also been visiting a psychiatrist named Shweta. The reason? In his childhood, his older brother Kumar used to constantly bully and trouble him. Their parents never said anything about it. They would just ignore it. One day, Kumar took Karthik near a well and was about to push him in, but Karthik pushed him back in self-defense and ran to save himself. Kumar fell into the well and died. Since that day, Karthik has carried the guilt that his brother died because of him. He keeps having disturbing nightmares about it, and that's why he continues seeing Dr. Shweta. Shweta explains to Karthik, "Right, what happened wasn't your fault, it wasn't something you did on purpose. But that one traumatic incident made you afraid to face people your entire life. You think staying quiet and tolerating everything is the safest option, but that's exactly what people take advantage of. You don't need to fear anyone. Learn to stand up for yourself, build confidence, and speak up when you need to." Taking her advice to heart, the next day Karthik goes to his boss and says, "You thought I forgot the task that day, but actually you forgot to assign it." That hits the boss's ego hard. How dare someone correct him? So, in front of everyone, he insults Karthik and then fires him on the spot. What hurts Karthik the most is not just the humiliation, but the fact that Shonali was standing right there, watching it happen. Karthik had been working in that office for 4 years, and yet Shonali only realized that someone named Karthik even existed today, because until then, she had never even noticed him. With a sad and defeated face, Karthik returns home. His eyes fall on the new phone lying there, so he finally decides to connect it. For the next few days, Karthik barely leaves his bed. Sometimes he lies down, sometimes he sleeps. He tries to solve a Rubik's Cube, then gives up and just lies there, again. Slowly, Karthik begins to feel like there's nothing left in his life worth living for. He makes a decision he's going to take sleeping pills and end it all. Just as he's about to take the pills, the phone rings. On the other end of the line, a deep voice says, "I'm Karthik." The voice sounds exactly like his own. Let's name him K2. K2 says, You were about to kill yourself with sleeping pills, right? There's no need to die now because I'm here. Everything's about to change, Karthik. I'm going to fix your life." Karthik is in complete shock. How could someone else sound exactly like him? But then K2 starts revealing very personal things only Karthik could possibly know. Terrified, Karthik quickly hangs up the call. Wondering who this person was who knew everything about him, Karthik goes to the telephone department the next day to find out who had called him at 5 p.m. the previous night. But the report says no one called him. That day, Karthik waits in the morning, afternoon, and evening, hoping the phone will ring again. But it doesn't. Then, exactly at 5 p.m. that night, the phone rings. It's him again. K2. The first thing K2 says is, "I knew you wouldn't believe me, and that you'd go to the telephone exchange to check." K2 starts talking about Karthik's personal life again, things no one else could possibly know. He mentions how Karthik keeps seeing dreams about his brother Kumar, how he goes to a psychiatrist, and how, despite all that, nothing has changed. He's just wasting money. K2 says, "Don't you want Sonali to be a part of your life? You write her emails but delete them every time. Are you really happy living like this? Is this how you want to spend your life? Or is it just too hard to believe that someone actually wants to help you? Believe it or not, I'm your well-wisher. Just wait for my calls every day. And slowly together, we'll fix everything. You just have to trust me." Karthik had already given up on his life, but this felt like a new chance. A chance that maybe if he listened, things could actually get better. So, he agreed to trust K2. On the next call, K2 says, "Your biggest problem is that you can't say no. Learn to say it, otherwise, people will keep taking advantage of you." The very next morning, Karthik's landlord again comes asking for extra money for no reason. But this time, Karthik doesn't hesitate. He firmly says, "Actually, you owe me 5,000. My aunt works in the property tax department, and that illegal office you're running in the garage, I can have it shut down anytime. Want me to call for a raid?" The landlord instantly panics. Instead of asking for money, he rushes off and brings Karthik the amount he supposedly owed. For the first time in a long while, Karthik feels genuine happiness. K2's advice actually worked. He goes to the mall and buys stylish, high-end clothes. He even switches from wearing glasses to using contact lenses. On the next call, K2 tells him, "You didn't push Kumar. After you ran away, he was trying to tie you up with a rope, and that's when his foot slipped, and he fell into the well himself. You've been blaming yourself your whole life for something you never did. He used to torment you, but now it's time to cut off anyone who still does the same." The very next day, Karthik, dressed sharp in a full suit and tie, confidently walks straight into his ex-boss's cabin. The boss immediately yells at him, "You're not getting your job back. Now get out of here." But Karthik calmly replies, "The land you're selling to Ratan? What happens when they find out it's illegal?" The boss freezes and quickly asks him to sit down. There was a major deal about to happen with another company. As Karthik looks through the file, he points out, "This isn't profit, it's a loss of 50 million rupees." Karthik starts explaining several other business details, things even his ex-boss didn't know. Now the boss has no choice but to hire Karthik back. Karthik had proved how valuable he really was, that without him, the company couldn't function. But this time, he wasn't just rehired at his old position. He was given a senior post with his own cabin. A man who once did nothing but grunt work was now sitting in his own office, all because of K2. Now it was time to win Sonali. K2 said, "Go meet her boyfriend and tell him it's time he went back to his wife." The next day, Karthik meets Ashish and says, "I know about your wife and your child. You never told Sonali about them. So you go tell her yourself, or I will. Because honestly, I love the sound of a slap." Ashish truly cared about Sonali, so he confesses everything to her. But Sonali, furious, slaps him multiple times and ends their relationship right there. We see Sonali sitting alone, looking sad. Karthik walks up to her, trying to comfort her, thinking that by offering a shoulder to cry on, he might win her heart. But Sonali, without saying much, simply walks away. The next day, Karthik texts her, asking if she'd like to go out for dinner. She refuses. Karthik doesn't give up. He tries different ways, acting a little innocent, a little sweet, and asks her out for coffee instead. After saying no 4 or 5 times, Sonali finally agrees, but Karthik doesn't take her to a regular coffee shop. Instead, he takes her far away up on a mountain where they sit on a rock. sipping coffee that Karthik himself had prepared and brought along. Shonali begins to notice his kindness, his gentle nature, the way he talks, and slowly she starts to like him. K2 says, "In just a few days, Shonali will be yours. Now, aren't you happy?" We see Karthik looking at the Rubik's Cube he always used to solve. Only 2 rows are complete, while the third one is still unsolved, just like Shonali, who isn't completely his yet. One day while shopping, Karthik and Shonali run into Karthik's cousin's sister. They all chat and laugh together, and slowly, Shonali and Karthik fall completely in love, beginning a romantic relationship. Thanks to K2, Karthik's life is finally back on the track. And at that moment, the Rubik's Cube is now fully solved. Karthik thanks K2, who says, "You have to promise me something. Never tell anyone that I talked to you. Don't mention these phone calls to anyone, because no one will believe you. They'll think you're insane." Karthik promises that he will never tell anyone. Karthik and Shonali grow even closer. But one day Shonali says, "You're probably just passing time with me too, right?" Karthik, wanting to prove that his love is real, takes her to the office. There, he shows her all the unsent emails he had written to her over the past 4 years, but never had the courage to send. This means he had liked Shonali ever since he started working there. Shonali gets emotional and asks, "Why didn't you ever send these emails?" Karthik doesn't say a word. His eyes simply fill with tears. Shonali hugs him tightly. The confession of love had now happened from both sides. Every day at 5 p.m., Karthik would answer the call and take advice from K2 advice that helped him become more successful and move ahead in life. One day, Shonali says, "I've been in relationships with many guys, but every one of them failed. And now that I've met you, it finally feels like real love. I want this love to last forever. Just promise me one thing, never hide anything from me, because I don't want us to ever fight or lose each other over secrets." Karthik had one secret: his conversations with K2 over the phone. K2 had clearly told him never to reveal it to anyone. But Karthik thinks to himself, "Shonali trusts me completely. Maybe I should tell her." Just as he opens his mouth to tell her, the phone suddenly rings, startling Karthik. Nervously, he picks it up, only to find it's just a call from a loan company. Gathering courage, Karthik finally tells Shonali, "I get a phone call every day. And on the other side, it's me. I talk to myself for hours." Shonali is stunned. What are you saying? How is that even possible?" Karthik replies, "I'm not disturbed by these calls. In fact, they've helped me. They've changed my life." Shonali, shocked, says, "You need to see a doctor." But Karthik calmly responds, "There's no need for a doctor. It's completely normal. Don't worry. After we get married, I'll keep the phone in the hall and talk quietly, so you can sleep peacefully." Shonali says, "We can't get married with an issue like this. Either you see a doctor, or we end this relationship right here. I don't have the strength to go through another broken relationship." K2's voice cuts in sharply. "I told you. I warned you. But you still told her. Now Shonali thinks you're crazy, but it's not too late yet. Don't listen to her. Don't go to any doctor. Just lie to her. Tell her it was nothing." The next day, Karthik tells Shonali, "There's no need for a doctor. I was just joking." But Shonali immediately realizes he's lying. She gets angry and starts to walk away. Afraid she might leave him for good, Karthik agrees to see a doctor. He tells everything to Shweta, his psychiatrist. She listens carefully and says, "This is all your imagination, Karthik. Most likely, because of schizophrenia, you're hallucinating these calls. But you're not getting any calls, Karthik. It's all in your head." But Karthik is absolutely convinced it's not his imagination. He refuses to believe her. Shweta decides to go to his house herself, determined to talk to the person on the other end of those calls. Exactly at 5 p.m., the phone rings. The voice on the other end says, "You've known me for 3 years, Shweta. You know I don't lie. If I say I exist, then I exist." K2 starts speaking to Shweta as if he isn't a stranger at all, but actually Karthik himself. K2 says, "I did what you and your treatment couldn't do for years. You're the failure here. You should be thanking me instead of telling Karthik I don't exist. Karthik is like a child. He needs me." Karthik goes to Shonali and says, "See, even the doctor spoke to him now. Now do you believe me?" But Shonali feels like someone is playing a cruel trick on them. She decides to wait for the call herself. When the phone rings, she doesn't let Karthik pick it up, thinking, "Let it ring for a few days. Eventually that person will stop calling." Shonali leaves, but the phone keeps ringing and ringing and ringing. Terrified, Karthik disconnects the phone line, yet it keeps ringing. He panics. How is that even possible? Shonali says, just stop answering those calls and everything will be fine. But Karthik snaps, no, it won't be fine, everything will fall apart. Why don't you understand? Without him, I'm nothing. Before, you didn't even look at me. Did it matter to you whether I was even alive? He cared. He fixed everything, even you came into my life because of him. And now you're stopping me from talking to him? Whatever happens, I'm still going to talk to him. Shonali, upset, quietly walks away. Karthik thinks to himself, he was right. No one will ever understand. K2 says, you made a huge mistake, Karthik. I told you not to tell anyone, but you did. I told you not to go to the doctor, but you brought her to your house. And yesterday, you made the biggest mistake of all. You didn't pick up my call. I'm the one who lifted you up, and I can drag you down just as fast. Watch now, how I destroy your life, in the blink of an eye. We see the Rubik's Cube once again scrambled and unsolved, a sign that Karthik's life was about to descend into complete chaos. The next day, Karthik goes to the office, and his boss shouts at him, you tried to blackmail me, threatening to tell my wife about my affair? You're finished. Your career is over. Get out. Karthik's mind races. That call? It must have been K2. Suddenly, the boss lunges forward, grabbing Karthik by the throat, furious because one of their top clients had also received a call from Karthik, warning them about illegal land deals, a call that cost the boss 800 million rupees in losses. Just then, Shonali storms in and says, last night you called me and abused me. I made a huge mistake thinking you were a good person. Poor Karthik tries desperately to explain. I didn't make those calls. It wasn't me. But no one believes him, because K2's voice is identical to his own. To make matters worse, Karthik discovers his bank account has been completely emptied, all his money donated to an NGO, a transaction he never made. His job was gone. His love was gone. Even his savings were gone. Everything K2 had given him, K2 had now taken away. Shattered, Karthik sells his watch and buys a pair of dark glasses for the blind. He goes to the railway station and tells a man, get me a ticket to any station. Just don't tell me where. Just give me the platform number. Karthik boards a random train and ends up in Kochi. As soon as he steps out of the station, Karthik puts on the dark glasses, so he has no idea where he is. Relying on the help of strangers, he books a room in a hotel and locks himself inside. He has the TV, phone, and everything else removed from the room. His plan was simple. If even I don't know where I am, how could K2 possibly know? Karthik spends months living like that, isolated, and slowly things start to improve. Because without a phone, there could be no calls. Karthik had now started working at a courier company, living a completely ordinary life. On the other side, Shonali often thought about him, missing him deeply, but she had no idea where he was. Even Karthik sometimes felt like emailing or messaging her, but he never sent anything. Meanwhile, Dr. Shweta had come across some information she wanted to share with Karthik. She reached out to Shonali, but even Shonali had no idea where he had gone. One day, Karthik's boss, who was going abroad for a few days, said, you should get a phone so we can stay in touch. Karthik had been away from phones for months and didn't want to carry a mobile. Instead, he decided to get a landline connection. At the shop, he ended up buying the exact same telephone he once had before. He didn't even check what his new number was, so that K2 wouldn't be able to call him. Karthik installs the phone connection but lives in fear that the call might return. Because of that, he stays awake all night. Morning comes 5 a.m. but no call comes through. Karthik feels relieved. Finally, it's over. He goes to the office and emails Shonali, everything's fine now. Shonali meets Shweta to share the good news about Karthik's message. Shweta asks her, did Karthik ever have a brother? Shonali replies, no, I've talked a lot with his sister, and she never mentioned any brother. She said Karthik is an only child. Shweta says, then my suspicion was right. He's been disturbed since childhood. Karthik always believed he had a brother who tormented him, and he blamed himself for that brother's death, which is why he came to me for treatment. But the truth is, that brother never existed. We see flashes of Karthik's childhood. He always thought there was a brother who troubled him, but in reality, no one was there. That's why his parents never intervened. They never understood who their son was talking about. Karthik suffers from schizophrenia, and because of it, he imagined an entire brother who only he could see, no one else. Those mysterious phone calls he believed he was receiving, they too were just creations of his own mind. Shonali then finds a magazine featuring an advertisement for the exact same phone model Karthik used, and this begins to unravel the truth. That phone had a special feature: you could record your own voice and set it as a voice message reminder. When Karthik first bought the phone, the shopkeeper explained all its features, but Karthik's eyes were on Shonali at the time. His ears heard it, but his mind was elsewhere. The shopkeeper had said, "Dial 0026, record your voice, and set it for any time like an alarm. Even if the connection is cut, the reminder will still ring." This is where the truth hits. Karthik himself was becoming K2. He would record his own voice, set it for 5 a.m., then go to sleep. When the phone rang the next morning, he had no memory of recording it, believing it was someone else calling him. Inside him, two personalities had formed. One personality was smart and cunning, guiding him towards success as K2. The other was shy and fragile, the Karthik everyone knew. Shweta explains, "Our brain is extraordinary. The things we choose to remember, what we think about and talk about, are stored in our conscious mind. But all those tiny details we overlook, the things we see and hear, but don't consciously pay attention to, they're all stored in our subconscious mind. The subconscious is unique. It knows everything about us, how we think, the questions we ask, our deepest secrets, because the conscious and subconscious are both part of the same brain." Here we see that Karthik had once overheard Ashish talking to his wife, and even though he never consciously focused on it, that detail was buried deep inside his subconscious mind. He had also once seen his boss getting close with a worker, and that too had been stored in his mind. All of these details, buried deep in his subconscious, were now surfacing as K2, whispering them back to him. Shweta says, "A single mind can hold multiple personalities, like Karthik's alter ego, the one that calls him, and he may not even realize it exists." Karthik could be suffering from multiple personality disorder. The email Shonali had received was from the courier company where Karthik now worked. Using that clue, she starts tracing his location, desperate to reach him before something terrible happens. Meanwhile, late at night, we see Karthik transforming into K2. He picks up the phone and records a chilling message. "Did you really think I'd let you go? Soon you'll wish you were dead. I know you're in Kochi, and you can't escape me." After recording it, he collapses back into sleep, completely unaware of what he just did. At exactly 5 a.m., the reminder rings, sounding to Karthik like yet another call. He picks it up and hears the same terrifying message he had recorded himself. He panicked. He knows where I am. I'm finished. Karthik thinks his life is already over. Before K2 can turn it into an even worse hell, he decides to end it himself. He swallows a handful of sleeping pills and waits for death to come. But outside his room, Shonali has just arrived. By the time she gets in, Karthik is already unconscious. We cut to the next scene. Karthik is not dead. He's alive, and Shonali is right there with him. She had reached just in time and saved his life. Karthik is now undergoing treatment, and he's fully aware of his condition. Phones still make him nervous, but he's slowly getting better. Step by step, Shonali wraps her arms around him, holding him close. "Don't worry, I'm here with you." In the final shot, we see the Rubik's Cube perfectly solved, a symbol that Karthik's life too is finally coming back together. And with that, the story comes to an end. Karthik's journey reminds us of one powerful truth sometimes. Our greatest enemy lives inside our own mind. But with the right support and courage, even the darkest voices can be silenced. If you ever feel lost, don't hesitate to seek help, because every life, including yours, is worth saving. This was Karthik Calling Karthik 2010, a gripping psychological thriller that shows us how fragile and yet powerful the human mind can be. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling movie explanations just like this one.